I woke up in my fiancé's body on the morning of my 28th birthday. His Rolex digging into my wrist like a handcuff. And the first thing I did was smash the mirror with his fist, my fist now, because staring back was a Mackenzie Hale. Heiress to nothing but ghosts. But Alexander Voss. The golden boy who just fucked me over harder than a Wall Street crash. They'd slipped the serum into my champagne at the engagement party the night before. A black market body swap cocktail cooked up in some Silicon Valley lab. Because in their world of old money and older grudges, stealing your life was just good business. And as I flexed his manicured fingers, feeling the power surge through veins that weren't mine, I realized the one-way ticket to oblivion they'd booked in my name was about to become their express lane to hell, because they had no goddamn clue I'd been playing them all along, hiding billions in offshore shadows that even daddies couldn't touch. The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Tribeca loft like it was trying to drown out the lie of my life. Or his life. Whatever the hell this was now. Mackenzie Hale stumbled out of the king-sized bed. Sheets tangled around legs that felt too long, too solid, too male. The silk pajamas clung wrong, the fabric whispering against skin that prickled with unfamiliar stubble. My heart, his heart, pounded like a bass drop at a Jay-Z concert, erratic and too loud in the cavern of this chest. Alex. My voice came out gravelly, a baritone that echoed off the exposed brick walls. I clapped a hand over my mouth, feeling the rough jawline, the faint scent of his cologne, sandalwood and entitlement, wafting up like a bad memory. Panic clawed at my throat, but I swallowed it down. Panic was for the old Mackenzie, the one who'd let them walk all over her for 28 years. I lurched to the bathroom, flicking on the lights that buzzed like fluorescent lights. The mirror hit me like a sucker punch. There he was, Alexander Voss, 32, heir to Voss Industries, with his chiseled jaw, piercing blue eyes, and that perpetual smirk that had charmed boardrooms and bedrooms from Boston to Beverly Hills. But inside,
Me.
trapped, furious, plotting. The night before replayed in fragments, the engagement party at the plaza. Crystal chandeliers dripping like honeyed venom. Champagne flutes clinking to toasts of forever. My stepmother, Vivian Hale, bless her Botoxed heart, had pressed the glass into my hand with a smile sharp as a stiletto. To new beginnings. Darling. My half-brother, Preston, had hovered nearby, his laugh a little too loud, his eyes darting to the shadows where their fixer lurked. And Alex, my fiancé, the man who'd proposed on bended knee at sunset over the Hudson, whispering promises of empires we'd build together. He'd kiss my knuckles, then slipped away to handle a call. I'd felt the prick almost immediately, a tiny sting in my neck, like a mosquito bite in the summer heat of the Hamptons. Then blackness, swirling like the martinis I'd nursed to steady my nerves. When I woke, it was to this, his body, his life, his goddamn Rolex ticking away the seconds until they buried me.
No.
Not buried. Exiled. I spotted the envelope on the nightstand, propped against a vase of wilting lilies, ironic, since lilies screamed funeral. Mackenzie, it read in Vivian's elegant script. I tore it open with fingers that trembled despite their borrowed strength. Inside, a one-way ticket to some godforsaken airstrip in rural Montana. First class lies all the way. For your safety, the note cooed. A fresh start. We've arranged everything. Preston will handle the details here. Details. That's what they called it when you framed your stepdaughter for corporate espionage. Pinned billions in embezzled funds on her like a scarlet letter. and shipped her off to vanish in Big Sky Country. The crime I'd taken the fall for, Daddy's mistake, in the merger that tanked Halevos stock 3 years ago, wasn't his. It was theirs. Vivian's pet project. Siphoning funds to offshore accounts for her lover's political campaign. Preston's idea. The idiot savant who'd hacked the ledgers to cover it. And Alex? He'd signed off, sealing it with a kiss, because marrying the fall girl made him look noble. But they didn't know the secret I'd buried deeper than their sins. Daddy hadn't just left me the crumbling Hale estate in the will. He'd whispered it on his deathbed. Morphine-dazed in that sterile Sloan Kettering room. The Shadow Fund.
Kenzie.
40 billion. Untouchable. For when they turn, I'd played the grieving daughter. The vapid socialite. Letting them think I was broken, bendable. All while wiring the first transfers to crypto wallets in the Caymans. Building my ghost empire from the shadows of their board meetings.
Now.
In Alex's skin, I had the keys to their kingdom. His phone buzzed on the charger. Preston.
Boss.
You up? The car's waiting for Mackenzie's flight. Vivian's on edge. I typed back with shaking thumbs, mimicking his clip style. Handled. Tell V it's done. Hit send. Felt the thrill snake up my spine. I stripped off the pajamas, stepping into his walk-in closet that smelled of leather and conquest. Suits hung like soldiers. Tom Ford. Brioni. Racks of them in grays and navies that screamed, trust fund. I grabbed a charcoal Armani, the one he'd worn to Daddy's funeral, and dressed with deliberate slowness, buttoning the shirt over a body that felt alien yet empowering. The tie Hermes, silk the color of storm clouds, knotted under my collar like a noose I controlled. Downstairs, the doorman nodded as Alex, strode out into the drizzle. Morning, Mr.
Voss.
Cab's here. I slid into the back seat, the leather creaking under me, and directed the driver to JFK. Not for Mackenzie's flight. For mine. Theirs.
Now.
The terminal was a zoo of harried travelers, rolling suitcases clacking like gunfire on the tile. I spotted her, before she saw the imposter. Mackenzie Hale, wide-eyed and disheveled in yesterday's cocktail dress, hair a tousled mess from whatever drugged haze they'd left her in. She clutched her purse like a lifeline, scanning the crowd. Our eyes met across the throng, and for a split second, something passed between us. Recognition, rage. A mirror of souls swapped in the night. Kenzie, her voice, my voice, cracked, drawing stares from a cluster of Midwestern tourists. She rushed forward, heels clicking, grabbing my arm. Alex, what the fuck? I woke up, and everything's wrong. I feel you. I leaned in close, inhaling the faint vanilla of my own perfume on her skin.
Sure.
Not here. I guided her to a quiet corner by the gates. The announcement for Flight 472 to Bozeman droning overhead like a death knell. They did this. Vivian. Preston.
You know why.
My eyes narrowed, the fire I knew so well flickering behind borrowed lashes. The serum. That prick in the lab coat at the party.
But why?
The frame job was supposed to be enough. Not enough, I whispered, glancing over my shoulder. Security milled nearby, bored but watchful. They want you gone.
Erased.
But you're me now.
Kenzie.
Fight like hell. She swallowed hard, fists clenching. And you? In my body. You're Vulnerable. I smirked, his smirk, but mine inside. Vulnerable? Baby. I'm Alexander Voss.
CL. King.
And I've got billions they can't touch burning a hole in your pocket. The boarding call crackled. She straightened, chin lifting in that defiant tilt I'd practiced in front of mirrors during cotillion classes. Then burn them down.
For Daddy.
For us. I pressed a kiss to her forehead, awkward in this body, but fierce. Happy birthday.
Me.
Don't miss the flight. As she walked away, ticket in hand, I felt the fracture deepen. This wasn't just revenge. It was rebirth. And in the house of Vosshale, the wolves were about to learn what it felt like to be hunted by their own shadow. The limo ride back to the loft was a blur of Manhattan's wet streets, yellow cabs splashing through puddles like accusations. His phone lit up again, Vivian. Darling, is it done? Preston's pacing like a caged tiger. I fired back, boarded.
Clean getaway.
A pause. Then perfect. Dinner tonight?
Celebrate. Celebrate.
The word tasted like bile. I arrived at Voss Tower mid-morning, the glass monolith piercing the clouds like a middle finger to the working stiffs below. The lobby hummed with suits and whispers, the receptionist beaming as I signed in. Mr. Voss, your 11 a.m. With the board is set. Elevator up to the 52nd floor. Stomach churning with the ascent. The doors dinged open to mahogany and money. Assistants scurrying like mice. Preston's office door was ajar. I could hear him on the line. Voice oily as ever. Yeah. The bitch is airborne. No loose ends. I pushed in without knocking. He spun in his leather chair. Blonde hair flopping like a golden retriever's. Surprise flickering before the mask slipped back. Alex.
Bro.
You look like shit. Rough night. Something like that. I dropped into the chair opposite, crossing legs that felt too heavy. Mackenzie's flight? Taxiing as we speak. He leaned back. Steepling fingers, Daddy's habit.
Stolen.
Vivian's thrilled. Finally. We can move forward without her. Distractions. Distractions. That's what they called the daughter who'd uncovered their scam 3 years ago. The one who'd shouldered the blame to protect the family name. I'd confessed to the SEC. Tear-streaked press conference and all. Letting them paint me as the spoiled junkie who'd cooked the books for a fix. Prison time? Suspended sentence. Community service in soup kitchens while they partied in the pines. But I'd known. And I'd waited. Preston's eyes narrowed, sensing the shift. You okay, man? Engagement jitters? I forced a laugh, deep and disarming.
Nah.
Just thinking about the future.
Ours.
He bought it, launching into merger stats, projections that glossed over the hollowed core. I nodded, mind racing. Step 1. Access the shadow accounts. From Alex's desktop. It was child's play, biometrics. His thumbprint now mine. Transfers initiated. 10 mil to dummy core in Delaware. Funneled to mercenaries if needed. But subtlety first. Poison. Not bombs. Lunch was Vivian at Le Bernardin. Her across the table in Chanel. Pearls gleaming like nooses. Alexander. You seem distant. Her fork speared a scallop. Precise as a shiv. Rough morning. I sipped the Sancerre, letting it ground me. Kenzie's gone. You happy? Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Botox frozen. relieved, darling. She was always unstable. The drugs, the scandals, lies layered like milfy. I'd never touched the white lines they claimed. That was Preston's vice.
Projected onto me. Yeah.
Unstable. I leaned in. But what if she's not gone for good? Vivian's fork paused. What do you mean? Nothing. Just ghosts. I waved it off, paying the check with his black card. As we parted on the sidewalk, her driver idling, I caught the flicker. Doubt? Fear?
Good.
Afternoon blurred. Board meeting, where I greenlit the deal that would bleed their slush funds dry. Handshakes. Backslaps. The American dream distilled to spreadsheets. By dusk, I was back in the loft, stripping down to boxers that chafed, staring at the body in the mirror. Muscles honed by CrossFit and coke-fueled gym sessions. Scars from a yacht mishap in Nantucket, his, not mine. I traced the line on his ribs, wondering if pain felt different in stolen flesh. The phone rang, unknown number. I answered, voice steady. Voss. Alex. It was Hermie in Montana. Voice hushed over wind-whipped static. Landed. Some ranch in the middle of nowhere. They think I'm you, waiting to disappear. Stay low. I've started the bleed. Tomorrow, we twist the knife. A pause. Then, this body. It's weak. Tired. But the fire? It's yours. We hung up. Night fell like a curtain. City lights winking below. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of swapped souls and burning bridges. Morning would bring the first blood, not red,
But ink.
signatures on docs that would unravel their empire thread by thread. Revenge wasn't a sprint. It was a marathon through their nightmares. And I was just lacing up. The second day in Alex's skin felt like wearing a suit tailored for a stranger, close enough to fool the world, but itching where it counted. I woke to the alarm's insistent beep, slapping it silent with a hand that still marveled at its reach. Coffee brewed strong. Bloskas my muet, and I scrolled his emails over the steam. Mergers pending. Mistresses CC'd on alibis. Vivian forwarding urgent. Invites to galas where deals were sealed in whispers and whiskey. Preston arrived at the office early, bursting in with a Veni latte and that frat boy grin. Rise and shine. Future brother-in-law. Vivian's got us on the docket for the senator's fundraiser tonight. Big donors. Bigger envelopes. I nodded, sipping from his mug porcelain. Monogrammed. Sounds lucrative. Lucrative. The word dripped like honey over razor blades. The senator in question? Vivian's project, the one her offshore cash had propped up through scandals and super PACs. I'd seen the ledgers. Back when I was Mackenzie, poring over Daddy's files in the attic. Dust motes dancing like secrets in the lamplight. We dove into the day. Conference calls with Shanghai suppliers, haggling over tariffs like poker hands in a smoke-filled den. Preston bluffed. I folded strategically, letting him think he led, while I rerouted shipments to ghost warehouses under my control. By noon, the first wire hit, $5 million from Voss Petty Cash to a consulting firm in Nevada.
Mine.
Untraceable. Thanks to the blockchain I'd mastered in late nights hacking from my rehab stint. Lunch was power sushi at Nobu. Preston chopsticking Toro like it was his birthright. You hear about the merger glitch? Some audit flagged irregularities. He chewed, eyes sly. Nothing major, but Viv's twitchy. Irregularities. Their word for the bombs I'd planted. Audits happen. We'll smooth it. I signaled for the check. Mind already on phase 2, the press leak. An anonymous tip to the Post, detailing questions about Halevoss ethics. Nothing concrete, yet just enough to make the stocks twitch. Afternoon brought the boardroom circus, gray hairs and Hermes ties, pontificating on Q4 projections. I sat at the head, Alex's throne, and unveiled the restructuring plan. Layoffs masked as efficiencies. Assets shuffled to shells I'd prepped. Preston squirmed as his pet division got the axe. Alex, this hits R&D hard. My team. Your team underperforms. I cut in, voice like velvet over steel. Adapt or get out. The room murmured approval. Power plays were bloodsport here. And I was playing to win. Vivian called as I left. Darling, Preston says you're aggressive today. Everything all right with our little problem? Little problem.
Me.
Shipped to Montana like yesterday's trash. All good. Viv. See you tonight. The fundraiser was at the Met, cloaked in Klimt golds and champagne bubbles. I arrived in a tailored tux, but I filled it with purpose, escorting Vivian on my arm. She glittered in emerald silk, head held high like a queen surveying peasants. Donors swarmed, oil barons from Texas, tech bros from the valley, all nursing scotch and secrets. The senator cornered us by the Egyptian wing, his handshake clammy. Alexander, Vivian, your support's gold. That last infusion saved my ass on the energy bill. Vivian simpered. We're invested in progress. Senator. Invested.
Cute.
I excused myself, slipping into the shadows of the American wing, where marble busts stared sightless. My phone vibrated. Mackenzie. Ranch is a trap. Guards everywhere. But I found their comms room. Hacked in, your codes work. A photo attached, grainy feed of Vivian's calendar. Circled entry, serum reversal, lab appointment. 3 days. Bingo. They had an off-ramp. I typed, stall. By time. Heart racing, hers now. Fragile in that body, I pocketed the phone and rejoined the fray. Preston found me later, by the coat check, reeking of bourbon. Bro, what's with the cold shoulder? Merger shit's stressing you. I clapped his shoulder, feeling the tremor beneath. Just business.
Press.
Family first. Right? He laughed. Too loud. Damn straight. Speaking of Kenzie call, she settled in, like a lamb to slaughter.
Lie.
But it landed. His relief was palpable. A chink in the armor. Midnight brought the real show, headlines trickling in on my feed. Voss Hale faces scrutiny in merger probe. Stocks dipped 2%, enough to spook the shorts. Vivian's text blew up. What is this? Fix it. Alexander. I didn't. Instead, I poured a nightcap in the loft, toasting the mirror to bleeding them dry. Day 3 dawned with FBI whispers, routine, they said. But Vivian's panic was electric. She stormed the office, heels stabbing carpet. Alexander. This leak, it's sabotage. Preston thinks it's an inside job. Preston, hovering, nodded furiously. We need to circle wagons. Fire some dead weight. I steepled fingers, Alex's habit. Or we audit up. Start with the old Hale files. Daddy's merger mess. Vivian's face paled under the foundation.
That's
Unnecessary. Ancient history. History repeats. I smiled. Wolfish. Unless we bury it deeper. The day devolved into damage control, lawyers on speed dial. PR spins about transparency. I played the hero, authorizing the probe that would unearth their skeletons first. By evening, Mackenzie's update: escaped the ranch. Stole a truck. Heading to Billings. Reversal serum, it's unstable. 1 dose left. Unstable. The word hung like a guillotine. If they reverse too soon, I'd be back in that frail shell, exposed.
No.
I'd burn it all before then. Night fell with a gala afterparty at Vivian's Upper East Side brownstone. Not mansion, because discretion. Chandeliers dripped light. Caterers circulated caviar on blinis. I cornered Preston in the library, leather-bound tomes mocking their illiteracy. Press. Level with me. The hail glitch, Kenzie knew. Right? That's why the frame. He froze. Scotch sloshing.
What? No. Man.
She was collateral. Viv's idea. Viv's idea. The queen pin. And the serum? Your play. He shrugged. Too casual. Lab guys connected. Clean swap. Clean erase. She wakes up you in Montana. Fades away. Poof.
Poof.
Like magic. But magic had prices. Risky. What if she fights back? Preston laughed. Bitter. In your body? She'd have to be you. I was. And I would. The party wound down. Guests filtering into the night like smoke. Vivian pulled me aside in the foyer. Her grip iron. Alexander. This probe, stop it. For us. For us. The lie of their triangle. Or what? Viv, you swap me too. Her eyes widened. A crack. What are you? Nothing. I kissed her cheek, tasting fear. Sleep tight. Back in the loft. I wired another 10 mil. This to a PI tailing the senator. Dirt on demand. Mackenzie's call came at 2 a.m. Found the lab. Coordinates sent. But Alex, my body, it's breaking. Heart issues. We swap back soon. Or I die in her skin. The thought twisted like a knife. Hold on. 2 days. Their empire crumbles by then. Dawn broke gray. The city grinding awake. The audit hit patered. First embezzlement trail. Leading to Vivian's shell. Stocks plunged 8%. Chaos reigned. Preston screaming at analysts. Vivian vanishing into calls. I watched from the eye. Calm as a hurricane's core. Revenge tasted like espresso. Bitter.
Bold.
Building to a crash. By day 4, the house of cards was tilting, and I was the gust they couldn't see. Voss Tower felt like a sinking ship, executives bailing via elevators while I, Alexander Voss, vessel of vengeance, sipped black coffee in the corner office, watching the SEC hounds circle via CNBC on the flat screen. Insiders allege fraud dating back to the 2022 Hale merger. The anchor droned, her red lips curling around the words like a curse. Preston burst in. Ty Askew, face flushed as a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. Alex. This is fucked. The feds are at the door, literally. Viv's lawyered up, but they're subpoenaing everything. We need to spin. Spin what? I cut him off, rising slow, using Alex's height to loom. The truth, or more lies? He blinked.
Throne.
What the hell? Man, you're acting weird since the party. Like you're not. Not what? Invested? I stepped closer, voice dropping to a growl that rumbled in this chest. Try not you.
Press.
Not blind. His hand twitched toward his pocket phone. Gun? Paranoia was a hell of a drug. You're cracking. The engagement stress. The stress? I laughed. Low and lethal. Like framing your sister for your fuck-ups? Like swapping souls because exile wasn't cruel enough. Preston went white as the marble lobby floors. How do you, Kenzie?
No.
He lunged for the intercom. But I was faster. Alex's longer stride closing the gap. I grabbed his wrist, twisting just enough to hear the pop of tendon. He yelped, sagging against the desk. Sit, I hissed, shoving him into his own chair. Or I snap it clean off. He crumpled, cradling the arm, eyes wild. You're not Alex. What the fuck did you do? Nothing they didn't do first. I circled like a shark in loafers. Serum's a two-way street. Little brother. I'm Mackenzie. And you're done. The confession hung, heavy as the humid air before a storm. Preston's mouth worked.
Fish-like.
Impossible. The dose was one way. Lab said. Lab lies for paychecks. I leaned on the desk, inches from his sweat-slick face. Like you. Daddy's golden boy. Born on third, but stealing home. The merger skim? Your code. Viv's accounts. Alex's signature. I took the heat, confession, headlines, the whole American nightmare. For family. He sneered through the pain. Family? You were dead weight. Kenzie. Junkie princess. Blowing trust funds on Fifth Avenue. We saved the empire. Saved it for yourselves. I straightened, pulling his desk drawer unlocked. Sloppy. Inside. Vials. Blue liquid glinting like sapphire sin. Backup serum. Cute. Plan B. Preston lunged again. Feral now. But I sidestepped, his shoulder slamming into credenza. Papers flew, ledgers. Printouts of the fraud. I snatched one, waving it like a flag. This buries you. Security knocked then. Drawn by the crash. Mr. Voss. Everything all right? Preston scrambled up, wild-eyed. He's not. Call the cops. Imposter. I pocketed a vial, smooth as silk. Tell them it's a family spat. Preston's off his meds again. The guards hesitated, loyal to the name, not the man. They hauled him out, muttering about cooling off. I locked the door, breath steadying. Phase 3, the confrontation. Vivian was next, holed up in her brownstone like a spider in silk. I arrived unannounced, pounding the knocker until Jeeves, real name Harold, but who cared, cracked the door. Mr.
Voss. Madam is.
Indisposed. Bullshit. Tell her the game's up. Upstairs. Vivian waited in the solarium, greenhouse glass fogged with orchids and outrage. She stood by the koi pond, fan of engineered fish swirling oblivious. Alexander. Or should I say, Kenzie? Preston called. Raving. I closed the distance, heels silent on slate. Raving's his specialty. Like when he coded the skim, thinking firewalls hit his tracks. Her eyes, sharp as cut emeralds, didn't flinch. He told you. No need. I knew 3 years ago. The night Daddy died. He slipped. Protect the boys, he said. But it was you, Viv. Stepmommy dearest, bleeding the company for your senator's war chest. She poured tea, Darjeeling, scalding, hand steady. And you confessed. Heroic. Foolish. Foolish. The word ignited. I was 25, fresh from Parsons, thinking blood meant loyalty. You let them crucify me, addict lies, tabloid trash. While I scrubbed pots in shelters for rehab, Vivian sipped. Elegant. Sacrifices build character. Yours was
Expedient.
the American way. Step on next for the corner office. And the swap? Your masterstroke? Preston's science fair project. She set the cup down. Porcelain clink like a gavel. Alex was complicit. Engaged to the corpse. But alive with me.
Me.
The gut punch landed.
Winded in this body.
Alex and Viv? The nights he'd begged off late meetings. The perfume on his collars I'd chalked to stress. Betrayal squared. Cubed. Exponential. You fucked my fiancé.
Flat.
Factual. No tears. Those were Mackenzie's. Locked in Montana. Love's a boardroom. Darling. Alliances shift. She rose. Circling me now. But you're trapped. Reversals tomorrow. Labs prepped. You'll wake in your shell. Charged with Alex's suicide. Despair over the scandal. Poetic. Poetic. I fingered the vial in my pocket. Unstable. Viv. One dose left. What if it kills him, me? Risk of the game. Her smile was serpentine.
Now. Out.
Before I call the men in white coats. I left. But not empty.
En route.
Mackenzie's text. Lab secured. Guards down your tranks. Serum's here. Swap tonight? Tonight. Twist the knife deeper. I detoured to a payphone, old school. Untraceable, tipping the post. Voss air missing? Affair with stepmother? Let the ink flow. Evening brought the senator's crisis call. Alexander. Pull the plug on the probe. My campaign. Too late. I hung up. Then wired the PI's dirt. Photos of Viv and the pole.
Tangled in D.C. Sheets.
Leaked by dawn. The lab was a nondescript warehouse in Red Hook, Brooklyn's underbelly where hipsters met hustlers. Mackenzie waited in the shadows. My body gaunt under a hoodie. Eyes hollow but fierce. Kenzie, Alex, you look like hell with a heart on. We hugged awkward. Bones pressing wrong. Inside. Tex slumped chloroform rags. Courtesy of my shadow funds. The chamber hummed, pods like coffins, humming with illicit current. Vials glowed on a steel tray. One dose, she confirmed. Split it.
No.
I grabbed it whole. You take it. Back to your body. Fight from there. Her, my face crumpled. But you, I'll end it. Their way.
Lie.
I'd fake the swap. Dose a dummy. Keep this shell. Power was addiction now. She injected, convulsing as souls realigned. Minutes later, she blinked up, Alex. Truly.
Groggy. What?
Mackenzie. Shut up. I zip-tied him, gagging the truth. Dragged him to a pod, sealing it like a tomb. Wake up in hell.
Outside.
Rain slicked the streets, sirens wailing distant. The knife plunged true. Vivian's arrest at 3 a.m. Preston's breakdown spilling all to feds. I watched from a burner phone. Anonymous. But the twist gnawed. Alex's memories bleeding in, nights with Viv. Yes. But regret? A file hidden. Daddy's real will. Naming me sole heir. They'd known.
Swap to steal it.
Deeper cut. The bleed became a flood. Day 5 broke with the city on fire, not literal flames, but the kind that scorched reputations, the tabloid inferno that turned tycoons to ash. I woke in the Tribeca loft to CNN's ticker. Voshail empire implodes. Arrests. Affairs. Embezzlement. Vivian's mugshot stared back, defiant even in orange jumpsuit chic, while Preston's lawyer issued a no comment that screamed guilt. Alex's phone, my phone now, was a war zone, board scrambling for emergency sessions, mistresses texting WDF, and a voicemail from the senator, voice cracking like bad gravel. You son of a bitch.
Voss.
Those photos, my wife's seen them. Pull back, or I'll bury you.
Bury me? Cute.
I deleted it, then called my PI. Double down. Every donor's wife. Flood the zone. Breakfast was skipped. Adrenaline was the new kale smoothie. I suited up Zegna gray. Power tie knotted like a garrote, and hit the streets, hailing a cab to Midtown. The driver, a grizzled vet with a Yankees cap, eyed me in the mirror. Rough night.
Pal?
You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, I muttered. Family. He chuckled, weaving through traffic clogged with honks and hustle. Family's the real killer. Mine disowned me after Nam. Best thing ever. Best thing. Maybe. The cab spat me at the federal building, where suits swarmed like flies on roadkill. I flashed Alex's ID, demanding a word with the lead agent, Martinez, a no-nonsense Latina with a stare that peeled lies like onions. Mr. Voss, she said, not offering a seat in her glass-walled office. Cooperative. Whistleblower. I slid a thumb drive across the desk, encrypted files I'd pulled from Alex's safe last night, emails, transfers, the serum contract with the lab geek SIG. Everything. For immunity. Her eyebrow arched. Why now? Because it's mine. Lie layered. The empire. The revenge. The body. They took too much. Martinez plugged it in. Eyes scanning.
This.
It's airtight. We'll need your testimony. Scheduled. I stood. Handshake firm. Make it splashy.
Outside.
The press mobbed. Post.
Times.
Vultures with mics. I pushed through. No comment but a smirk for the cameras. Let them feast. Back at the tower, the board had convened without me, cowards. I crashed it, door banging open to stunned faces. Gentlemen. Ladies. The ship's sinking. Abandon or bail it. Murmurs rose like steam. The chair, a fossil in pinstripes, cleared his throat. Alexander. This scandal, your involvement, my exposure. I paced, channeling every TED Talk I'd endured. Vivian and Preston cooked the books. I'm clean. And with me at the helm, we restructure, sell off the rot, pivot to green tech. Billions on the table. Bait taken. Votes swung. By lunch, I was interim CEO. Shares stabilizing on rumors of new blood. Preston's old team? Loyalists purged. Hires from my shadow network. ex-NSA types who'd owe me favors. Mackenzie called no. Alex in her body. Voice a ragged whisper. Kenzie. It's bad. Feds picked me up at the airport. They think I'm you. Fleeing.
Bail. Bail.
The words stuck like gum on a boot. Sit tight. I'll spin it. I wired the bond from a clean account, then leaked. Heiress Hale returns. Vows cooperation. Hero arc for the shell. Afternoon blurred. Pressers where I decried betrayal. Stock tickers green again. Vivian's arraignment streamed live. Defiant pleas. But the judge's gavel fell like thunder. Preston cracked an interrogation footage. A bootleg from my PI. It was her idea. The swap. All of it. Evening brought the flood's crest. Gala cancelled. Donors fleeing like rats. I dined solo at Peter Luger. Steak bleeding on the plate. Toasting with bourbon. To drowning. But cracks showed. Alex's memories surged unbidden. Like tides, his childhood in the Hamptons. Sandcastles with Preston. Viv's comfort after Daddy's death. Not just affair, love, twisted, but real. And the serum? Not malice alone, desperation. Daddy's will had named Mackenzie's sole heir.
Yes.
But with a codicil, if she proves worthy. They'd swap to test?
No. Steal.
Deeper, a file in his safe.
Un retina.
I raced back. Cracking it open, letters from Daddy to Alex. Son. Protect her. She's the future. Alex had tried, early warnings ignored. Then complicity to save the family. Pawn, not king. Doubt crept, cold as the loft's AC. Was revenge blinding me to mirrors? Night deepened, sirens wailed. Mackenzie, Alex, texted, out.
Hiding.
But body failing, heart murmur. Swap back.
No. Not yet.
The flood needed a dam break. Dawn of day 6. The twist hit like a freight train. Anonymous email. From the lab, serum logs. Voss didn't initiate. Hale did, your father. Prototype for empathy training. Backfired. Daddy? The man who'd hugged me at graduations. Whispered shadows. Logs attached. His signature on the black market buy. Notes on testing loyalty. To swap me out. See if the boys would rise? Betrayal primal. The crime I'd borne? His mistake. Pawn to kin. I retched in the sink. Alex's abs clenching. Flood turned tsunami. I called Martinez. More dirt. On Hale Sr. uploaded the logs. By noon. Headline screamed, Founder's dark secret. Body swap scandal rocks legacy. Vivian folded in court. Plea for lesser time. Preston suicided in holding. Faked? Real? Didn't matter. Empire mine. Billions merging with shadows. But the cost. Alex cornered me at dusk. In the loft. Her body frail but eyes, my eyes blazing. Kenzie. Stop. It's enough. Enough. I whirled. Vial in hand. The last dose. They took everything. We take it back. He stepped close. Hand on my arm, his arm.
Swap.
End this. Temptation sang. But power hummed.
No.
You go. Live quiet. He injected. Convulsing. I watched. Heart, whose, tearing. Soul shifted. Back in my skin. Weak but whole. Alex blinked in his body.
Whole.
Kenzie. Forgiven.
Lie. Truth.
Debated. He left. Door clicking soft. Flood receded. But the undertow pulled. Was I monster or martyr? The week after the swap blurred into a haze of hearings and headlines. The kind that bury you alive under legacy and lessons learned. I, Mackenzie Hale. Truly now, woke in my old apartment on the Lower East Side. The one I'd sublet during rehab, walls papered in ironic Warhol prints and regrets. Sun slanted through blinds warped by too many storms, casting stripes on sheets that smelled of vanilla and victory's ash. The mirror showed me hollow cheeks, dark circles like bruises, but eyes alive with the fire I'd stoked in borrowed flesh. 40 billion in play. Voss Hale rebranded under my hand. Hale Renewables. Greenwashing the graves. Board bowed. Donor circled back with apologetic checks. Vivian rotted in white-collar hell at Alderson, penning memoirs no one would read. Preston? The suicide-ruled accident. Overdose on his own serum stash, but whispers said witness protection. Snitching for scraps. Alex? Gone quiet. A ghost in Bermuda. Wiring occasional congrats from numbered accounts. Forgiven? The word soured. We'd shared a body. Souls brushing in the ether. But trust was a casualty. Like the merger files I'd torched. Morning brought the call. Martinez. Miss Hale. Testimony tomorrow. Full disclosure. Full as it gets. I hung up. Brewing tea, chamomile. Soothing the murmur that lingered in my chest. The heart issue? Cleared by a discreet cardiologist on retainer. But scars ran deeper than arteries. Out on the street, New York pulsed indifferent, bagel cart steaming, joggers dodging tourists, the eternal grind that chewed dreamers and spat out survivors. I walked to the office, my office now. 52nd floor with a view that humbled egos, past vendors hawking knockoff Rolexes. A irony not lost. The lobby bowed deeper. Whispers trailing. The Phoenix. The Avenger. Upstairs. The restructuring hummed. Layoffs softened with golden parachutes. R&D pivoted to fusion tech, daddy's dream. Perverted then purified. I signed off on grants for Empathy Labs. Ironic twist. Studying the mind's fractures. Ethically this time. Lunch was with the senator's ex-wife, new ally. Scorned and sharp. Vivian thought she owned the game, she said over salads at Sant Ambrius. Forks spearing arugula like hearts. Women like us? We rewrite rules.
We did.
Toasts to progress, but my mind wandered to Montana. The ranch I'd raised with a check, now a women's shelter. Ghosts exorcised. Afternoon. Presser in the auditorium. Lights hot as interrogation. Mackenzie Hale. On the scandal? I leaned to the mic. Voice steady, mine. Finally. Betrayal cuts deepest in family. But from ashes, empires rise. Flashes popped. Questions volleyed. The swap rumors? Urban legend. Focus on facts. Fraud exposed. Justice served. Offstage. Doubt nipped. Daddy's logs burned in my gut, the prototype his. For training. Had he meant to swap me? Test the wolves? Or accident? Covered by kin? The will's codicil mocked. Prove worthy. Had I? Billions secured.
But soul-stained.
Evening found me at the plaza. Site of the party. Ghosts in the gold. Champagne solo. Bubbles mocking toasts. A figure approached, Alex. Tanned but tired. In linen that hung loose. Kenzie. Alexander. Neutral ground. He slid into the booth. Signaling scotch. Heard about the shelters. Good. Redemption arc? Bitter edge. Survival. He sipped. eyes tracing my face, his once. The memories. I saw you. In there. The planning. The pain. Pain you caused.
Caused.
Shared.
Pause. Heavy.
Viv pushed. Preston panicked.
I.
Followed. Followed. The coward's creed. And now.
Now?
I walk. You rule. He pushed an envelope across. Keys to a Cayman trust. Half the shadows I'd built. Fair split. I took it. Fingers brushing.
Spark?
Or static.
Why?
Because worthies earned. You did. We parted in the lobby. Rain sheeting glass.
Taxi back.
City blurring neon tears. Months folded. IPO soared. Headlines faded to inspirational. I dated. A barista with tattoos and no agenda. Simple as sunlight. But nights. The swap haunted. What if unstable meant echoes? Flashes of his urges. Her fears. Climax came quiet. Anniversary of Daddy's death. Graveside in Woodlawn. Marble cool under palms. I whispered. You started this. I finished. Twist reversed. A letter in his crypt box. From him. Kenzie. The serum was for me.
Cancer shadow.
To live through you. If needed. Forgive the boys. They feared loss. Build better. Love. Dad. Cancer. The morphine haze? Not just pain, planning escape. I'd borne his mistake, but it was mercy, twisted by greed. Truth inverted. Villain to visionary? Debate raged in my head, hero or horror. I burned the letter. Ashes to wind. Ending? No tidy bow. Empire mine, but hollow. Alex's occasional calls warmed to dinners. Alliance tentative. Vivian's appeals denied. Preston surfaced in witness stand. Broken but breathing. Happy? Tragic? You decide. In America's Game of Thrones. Winners wake wondering, was the crown worth the crown of thorns? I walked away. City calling. Reborn.
Perhaps.
Or just remade in the image of monsters I'd slain.